Hello, and welcome to Actual Play and another game of For the Queen. I am so excited about this game. I'm Sean Nittner, and the host of Actual Play. I use he, him pronouns, and you can find me pretty much everywhere at Sean Nittner. I found out about For the Queen many moons ago when it was a playtest, and I'm really, really, really excited to see it developing this far and have all this beautiful art that we have for it. How about you, Rourke?
Yeah, I'm Rourke. I use she, her pronouns. I've mostly seen just art of For the Queen. I watched a little bit of some of the previous streams, but the art's got me really excited just seeing people posting about it Twitter. I know that we love the Queen, and looking at some of the art, it's not going to be very hard to. So I'm looking forward to playing.
Nice, nice. And how about you, Ken?
Hi, everybody. I'm Ken. You can find me at Burlingsbeard on Twitter. I have he, him pronouns. I basically have sort of heard about the game as like this GM-less, dice-less storytelling game. I know it's in development. I know it's not out yet. I know it's going to be out soon, which sounds very exciting. I know it's coming out, I think, from Evil Hat, I believe is the name. I could be wrong about that, but that's what I've heard. And also, it has really excited me because the touchstones for me have really been like Musketeers and that type of sort of like a thing. So I that's sort of where I've been going with it. And so I'm excited to find out what it's about, sort of about.
Cool, cool. Yeah, it's definitely my Musketeer vibe. You can kind of have any kind of queen you want, but
Right, I figured,
the
yeah.
only one that's out there. How about you, Laurel?
Yeah, I'm Laurel, she, her pronouns. You can find me on Twitter and Instagram at Kona Hart. And I was lucky enough to get to play For the Queen at Big Bad Con this year. And I started out in love with the Queen. Now I'm in love with For the Queen. And I've basically taken any avenue to get to play For the Queen before it's released again. So, and then I'll be playing it lots when it's released too. So
awesome.
Yeah, you're basically fulfilling my dream.
Yay!
Yay, dream fulfilled.
Yeah, well, thank you so much for coming on, everyone, to play. And with that, hello, chat. We're going to switch over to the board. I hope I clicked the right thing. Okay, here is the here's our setup, and we're going to start by reading the instructions, and so everybody watching along at home can see. We'll kind of go in order, and I'm going to try and keep up popping them up on the screen. We'll see if this works. But the instructions are going to tell us everything we need to know, including in the introduction of safety tools. So going around the table clockwise, take turns reading these cards aloud.
The land you live in has been at war for as long as any of you have been alive.
The Queen has decided to take a long and perilous journey to broker an alliance with a distant power.
The Queen has chosen all of you and no one else to be her retinue and accompany her on this journey.
She chose you because she knows that you love her.
You are welcome to look through the Queen cards for inspiration. If there is one that seems right for the group, place it on the table to inspire your story.
We'll do that in a sec.
Set the card that reads, "The Queen is under attack. Do you defend her?" aside.
I like your emphasis there, Kat.
Thank you. Thank you.
We haven't set that card aside.
But please do. Aha.
Shuffle the red prompt cards and place them face down on the center of the table.
I promise they are hanging out. We'll see them in a second. Put the Queen is under attack in the middle of the deck for a game that takes approximately 30 minutes, or shuffle into the bottom third of the deck for an hour or more. That's what we've done.
When you have read the instruction cards, continue clockwise with the red prompt cards. Take turns reading the questions out loud. Interpret these questions and answer them however you wish.
Other players may ask you questions or make suggestions on your turn, but whether you answer those questions or include those suggestions is entirely up to you.
Place the X card somewhere everyone can easily reach it.
So we have an X card that's built into our board here.
Ooh.
If you encounter a card or an answer that you don't want to be included in the game, tap the X card. That content is removed from the game. So because we are online, there are a couple different methods for this. One of them is that you can actually tap by clicking down on the X and holding, and it'll sort of pop up there. There's a chance we might miss that though. So it's also totally great to say, I want to X card that, or hold up an X, or a little X, or just say no. Let's not do that. We can also use any other kind of tools, and everybody here is way more important than any card or even the game itself. So we'll use that as it is most useful to all of us.
And if you draw a card that is removed this way, simply draw another card. You can X a card that you drew yourself.
You can also pass on your turn. To do so, give the prompt card you drew to the next player and say, I'd like to hear your answer to this question.
A prompt card can be passed around the table until someone applies the X card to it.
Continue answering, passing, and Xing the questions until the Queen is under attack card is drawn.
Each player should answer that question in turn. Then the game is over.
Whoever wants to can draw the first prompt card.
Cool. And with that, I'm going to hide the instructions. Whoop. And now we have the queens, which was like instruction 9, but we skipped over it because it's challenging to manage multiple decks at once. And what we've done in the last couple of games is I've just drawn 3 of the queens, and we've kind of talked about which ones inspired us and then picked one. Does that sound good to everyone?
Great.
Yeah,
And if none of them do, we can not use a queen, or we can draw 3 more because we've got a lot of them. All right, there's the silver-haired queen. What are you doing?
I may have drawn a card by accident. My apologies. So
Oh, it's okay.
it's totally on me.
It's all right. I can. All right, that's fine. And I think I'm getting some weird visual effects there. There we go. All right. Cool. So yeah, there's there's 3 of our queens. I know based on what we called them, they're the silver-haired queen, the witch queen, and the upright queen. But they can certainly be any queen we like. Any of these speak to any of you? Any of these you're excited about?
Yeah, I think for me, you called her the upright queen.
Yes.
That's the one that sort of immediately sort of jumped into, like, I understand how I could relate to that.
Yeah.
For me as well, actually. I like how she's not looking directly at us. That seems intimidating in a way that is queenly.
She has other things to do.
Mm-hmm.
She has important things. Sounds good. The chat is yelling, Druid Queen, Witch Queen, and someday, perhaps
That's so funny.
2 days from now, that'll happen. But I think for tonight we're gonna do the upright queen. So I'm having a weird artifact where I've got a queen card sitting on the playmat. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna recall all of them, and then oh no, it's still just hanging out. Let's refresh. How does one refresh in Roll20 without breaking the world? Let's see.
Yeah, the upright queen looked great. That was definitely the one that first drew my eye. The other 2 were very interesting as well. But I mean, definitely the upright queen like sort of draws you in. I think because the card was very colorful, and definitely because the sort of the gaze wasn't outwards, but sort of almost away from.
There's a little bit more setting to the background as well, versus like the crone is sort of on a plain background. So that kind of drew me in as well, I think.
Yeah. She has this palanquin that she is in.
And the
it's
fact that we see her back, it feels like we're following her, like we're going.
Oh, yeah.
yes.
Oh, that's interesting.
That's a good point.
Yeah, it was interesting to see what to me, I mean, looked like the current Queen of England, Sean. I mean,
Yeah.
Oh yeah, the
Like
silver-haired
me,
queen.
you know, if you will. And I
But-
mean, how many people are playing that game, right? Like, let's all play as
Yeah.
people who are
Very
in
different
modern
game.
day England, like,
Yeah. But
like
did
who
you
work for the Queen. Like, what does that look like? You know?
I don't know, Ken. I think that looks like a different game than this one. But
Probably.
and this queen, I love the art in this queen.
Oh,
One
yeah, it's
thing
gorgeous.
about it that isn't entirely obvious, and we can play to it as much as we want or as much as we not, but the queen does not have her legs after her knees. That's part of the
Oh, cool.
her palanquin. So that's also just a thing that we may or may not inform our game.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah, so now I'm going to hide the queen deck. The silver-haired queen, I love and I adore, but if you look at her, she has some serious menace in her eyes. Like it's subtle, but yeah, there's. I'm interested in that game as well. All right, we want to get the Freddie Mercury queen. A lot of people, hey Gian, a lot of people have been saying like, oh, you need space queens and all this stuff. I'm like, expansions. There we go.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
The business model.
I mean, she could be a space queen. We don't know.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, good one. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. That's true. That could be lens flare in the background right
Yeah,
there.
exactly.
Mhm.
The
Awesome.
British take over space. Now you got it.
Yeah. I'm going to go ahead and draw the first card. A drawing trick, by the way, is that wherever you drop your cursor, no matter what it looks like when you're dragging the card, wherever you drop your cursor will be the upper left-hand corner of the card when you drop it. So you want to kind of drag from the top of the deck and let go right in the inside of the gold box.
Okay.
And hi, Ken, in chat. I'm sorry that every time I say Ken here, it makes you go, huh? But it's okay.
Hey, there's a Ken in chat who I've yet to meet, but I hear is a pretty cool Ken.
He's a pretty cool Ken. Pretty cool Ken. What promise did the queen make to you before this journey? Do you think she'll keep it? I think the queen promised me that my holdings, which were in contested lands, would be restored. That part of this negotiation was that my sort of ancestral lands that I am heir to have been in a dispute, have been disputed territory for a long time, and I think she told me that one of the things that we would accomplish tonight is that land would be recovered, and that land would be restored to the queendom, and therefore I would like sort of be given back control of it. Do I think she'll keep it? Oh,
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, I think she'll use it as a bargaining chip. I think she'll keep it if it's advantageous to, and I think that she'll abandon it if it is going to sabotage her larger mission. And I think I'm okay with that. I think I understand that that's a thing that you say and that maybe doesn't really come true. And that sometimes when queens say they'll do things, they can't really be read as promises. They have to be read as like, hopefully that'll happen.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
That's it. All right. So I'm going to, when you're done with the card, you just click on it and delete it. Hit the delete key. And Mark, you are next in the rotation.
Wonderful. Oops. Just having some trouble. Oh, there we go. Oh, bottom. Okay.
Yeah.
You think of someone in this retinue as the queen's favorite. Who? What makes you think this?
This is a hard card when it's like the
That's so
second
early.
Second one, yeah. Ooh.
card. Yeah.
I think Sean's the queen's favorite
Oh.
because he's landed in theory.
Yeah.
Mm.
And I think that's something that the queen says doesn't matter to her, but I think it matters to her. And I feel like it matters.
Because do you mean that because I'm landed, she like sees me in higher light, or that I'm landed because she likes me and so she gave me this?
Oh, no, she sees you in higher light because you are landed, at least in theory. Even if you don't have physical possession of those lands,
Yeah.
the fact that you have that sort of legacy and a claim to that,
Yeah.
she thinks it's more useful to have you around,
Oh.
giving
you
her
je-
legitimacy.
Are you jelly?
I try not to be because I understand that's something that's very strategic for her and it makes sense. But there is some bitterness that just isn't what my family's legacy is. And that's going to affect how the queen sees me.
I like that she likes me, but I'd like it if she liked me for who I was.
So how do I delete the card?
If you just click on it, it'll highlight, and then you can hit the delete key on your keyboard.
Okay, perfect.
Or you might be able to right click and say delete too. I'm not sure.
There we go.
Cool.
All right, let's try this. All right, whoops, there we go. Who in this distant power you are traveling to? Who is this distant power you are traveling to, and why do they make you uneasy? Ooh, okay, cool. I think that the distant power that we are traveling to are spider people. They are called the Hesh, and they are terrible, but not, I mean, to me, I guess. I think they're terrible. They're like these spider people. They're like spider pirate people. They like have web ships that they fly on. They have like arms and legs. They are bipedal, but then they have multiple arms. And they have like these, mandibles coming out of their mouths and multiple eyes. And they're wild. I think that they're like plunderers and stuff like that. So the war has been terrible.
Yeah. Are they the people that we're at war with? Are we going to see our enemies?
I kind of think no. I kind of think that this is some sort of periphery group that we're seeking out.
Mhm.
Yeah.
But they're terrible.
They're terrible. Have we had? Is this like our first contact with them, or have
Maybe
we?
that's it. Yeah, maybe the only like legends we have are that they're like these just
Yeah.
terrible creatures. No ships have returned from the Hesh lands.
Oh wow. This is risky then.
Yeah, well, so there must have been a breakthrough that we don't know about. I don't know.
Yeah. Cool.
Do they communicate in the same way as we do, or is that another barrier?
Yeah, I something tells me that the communication is probably not going to be as easy as we would hope it would be. I would garner that like they don't speak our language normally.
Mhm.
Gian says it's cold outside, so all the spiders are coming indoors.
Yeah.
Sounds right.
Nice. Yeah. I am very excited to know about our relations with these. This is cool.
All right.
All right. Well, you're up.
Oh, yep.
Right.
Sorry. Yep.
Come on. think I might. Oh no, there we go. You saw the queen do something terrible to keep the retinue safe. What was it? Did you come to respect her more or less afterward? I think the terrible thing that I think the queen is a little bit superstitious, and so the thing that I have seen her do is that she's been catching spiders and keeping them, and this isn't necessarily a formalized kind of ritual or spellcraft or anything, just sort of more of a personal ritual for control that I see her engaging in when she thinks no one's looking. That anytime there's a spider, she's collecting it and keeping it in a little cage. And the thing that makes it especially creepy is that she is not necessarily caring for them, and they keep eating each other as she puts more in.
Oh goodness.
That's awful.
This makes me and she doesn't seem to notice that part of it, and it makes me very worried about her, and it makes me worried about her sanity. Yeah.
Wow. So I have a lot of questions about that. One, is she superstitious that these spiders are like spies for the Hesh? Does she like think that like they put her in peril and so she's capturing them? Or is it something, yeah. Or do we not even know?
I haven't asked her. My sense is that it is more like it's not anything even as direct as that. It's just knowing that she's going to be meeting these spider people and wanting some measure of control, even if it's completely imaginary, that that she can control these small creatures.
Wow. Okay, and question the second.
Yeah.
Sorry, there's just too much going on with that.
Yeah.
How is it that you know the spiders are eating each other? Are you watching? Like you said, the queen wasn't really watching after them. Are you watching after them? Are you like observing them intently?
Yeah, she leaves the cage in her room, or keeps it in her room, I should say. And when I'm doing cleaning and tidying things up, I see it and I like try to avoid it, but it's she doesn't hide it. She just doesn't take it out of her room.
Whoa.
So it's kind of like a little good luck charm to her.
Yeah. Nice.
Cool. Any other questions?
I'm good.
All right.
Cool.
All right. Why do you think the queen trusts you enough to bring you on this journey? I think that like the answer to that feels like it would be a little bit obvious, given that we've already figured out like my position of importance in this. So Rourke, I would like to hear your answer to this question.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. The queen trusts me to bring me on this journey because I'm actually the queen's archivist.
Ooh.
And I know about the history between the Hesh and our queendom, and these other people who we're going to. I know kind of the dynamics historically and what all these land claims are and the origins of these conflicts. So she trusts me in the sense that she trusts that I'm going to have some level of knowledge about what is otherwise unknown.
Mm-hmm. Does that mean you have the ability to communicate with them in either a verbal or written form?
Yeah.
I think I don't, but I can read some of their older texts. So it's kind of like I might be able to speak Old English, but that might not be helpful, say, if I was speaking to an English person now. So I could maybe muddle my way through some writing, but I don't I think she thinks I can communicate with them, and I don't think I can necessarily. That's a doubt I have about myself.
Wow.
She may be
Is-
overestimating my abilities.
Has either of these been made explicit? Like, has she told you, like, oh, when we get there, you'll be able to talk to the Hesh? Or is it just you're...
I think she just kind of assumed it, and I didn't want to say anything otherwise. I wanted to come because I have a vested interest in this. Like, I've come to care somewhat about what happens to the Hesh since I've read all of their cultural artifacts. But I don't think that she told me that I can translate, and so I just kind of let it be unsaid so I don't have to contradict her and maybe get left home.
Rourke, is your character older or younger, or what age are you seeing them at?
I think she's actually younger. So she was apprenticed to the previous archivist, and this was kind of like her project. So she's not even the main person doing the archiving work. She's just the person who's been studying the Hesh.
Nice.
Got it.
So,
and maybe she can communicate with them.
Maybe. I've never met anyone who
Awesome.
speaks Hesh, so I have no idea.
Awesome.
I just, for funsies, Googled sample Old English text, and I found some Anglo-Saxon chronicles of the Petersburg version. And I'm looking at like a tiny snippet of the text, and it is, I mean, like,
Incomprehensible.
There's like a word out of 20 that I think I might know what it means. So, chat, enjoy this nonsense. That is not Lorem Ipsum text right there. That is something. That is something real right there. So I'm just loving the idea of you being like, okay, got it.
I'm liking the idea that there's it's also like, even if you were to speak that fluently, it would be like millennia behind what the spider people are speaking.
Right.
Oh yeah, I would sound.
You're speaking Shakespearean.
Yeah. And I don't even know if I get the accents right or anything.
Yeah.
Right. How would you know? You don't have any samples.
Yeah.
Oof.
But she thinks I can. So
yeah. That's what matters.
That's the card for me.
Good.
The leader of the Hesh is Beowulf.
Yeah. Oh, that'd be great. All right, who is it? My turn or no?
It's your turn.
It is.
Yeah.
Okay.
On my turn, it was my pleasure to hear Rourke's answer to that question.
Got it. Yes, of course. Got it. What did you bring with you that endangers the queen?
Ooh.
What are you thinking?
I brought with me. I think I brought with me that endangers the queen. Okay. I think I'm gonna. I'm going to talk it out. All right. So I'm going to talk it out.
Absolutely.
So here we go. So I have a few ideas that are sort of in my head right now. And I've been just sort of quickly rejecting them. One of them was like, okay, I'm bringing like some sort of like WMD style, like crazy thing.
Yeah.
I don't know if I really want to go that way. That was what I first thought of. And I was like,
sure,
I can do better than that. So I was like,
I agree with that statement.
Let's push past that. And so I'm thinking, okay, is it like, is it like a family member? But then I'm like, okay, that sort of detracts from the queen. I don't want to do that.
Mm-hmm.
So
it also violates one of our rules, is that we are the only ones in this retinue.
That's true. Oh, that's true. So then I want to push, and I want to do. I think that so information is sort of what I think I'm trying to get at. So there's information that I have that's endangering the queen. And what can that information be is sort of what I'm getting tripped up on.
Sure.
I'm looking at what else we have sort of here. And I have the information that Sean's character is not landed that is the information that I have.
What? How
That
do you
is
mean? Tell me more about this. What are you talking about?
okay.
Why
Well, that you are not who you think you are, obviously.
Ooh, snap.
Mm.
Yes, exactly. Duh. So I don't want to endanger the queen because she likes you. You're the favorite. So I mean, I have this like information that's weighing on me, and it is definitely that you are not landed.
And is that she thinks I'm someone who I'm not? Like there is a person, they own this land, and it's just not me?
I think that it is you, and I don't know why. I don't know why everyone thinks it's you, but it is. But for some reason, some shadowy reason, it is not. Or do you want to go the other way?
No. I'm all about this.
All right,
As soon as I
sweet.
give myself like a position of like power and status, I was
Yeah.
like, somebody tear it down.
Yeah,
Somebody
you're
under my head,
welcome.
please.
You're welcome.
I-
I know your
Judd's
secret.
Judd's
I
in
know-
chat now, so I can say, I haven't been kicked to the ground in at least 24 hours. Yeah, no, that sounds great. That sounds great.
All right, awesome.
It's my horrible secret.
Your horrible secret. All right, cool. There it is. Boom.
All right. You suspect this journey isn't about diplomatic negotiations. What else do you believe is going on, and why? I think it has occurred to me that we absolutely don't know enough about the Hesh to we don't really know if we can communicate with them. We don't know that much about them. It doesn't sound like we've necessarily even made first contact. So why would we send our queen to do it?
Mm-hmm.
Let's see, what else is going on? I think I suspect that the queen is expecting to get intercepted on the way there.
Ooh.
I think I've found some communications that suggest that our endpoint is not necessarily the one that was stated.
Whoa. So we said we're going to go on this diplomatic mission to the Hesh, but the queen has other plans in mind?
Other plans.
Wow.
Yeah.
What do you think she's intending for us to do? Do you know?
I definitely don't know the details of it, but since the Hesh are not the main, country that we're at, or people that we're at war at,
Mm-hmm.
I suspect that it's something more related to that. Maybe trying to put together an insurgency within that country so that we can gain some leverage there. But I don't think we're actually going to try and meet with the Hesh.
Wow. There are like so many layers. There's like all these. There's all this political intrigue and like.
There's a lot happening.
There's a lot going on here.
Laurel, your character seems like you serve the queen as what, like I'm not sure how to say it.
I was picturing
a servant or like a lady in waiting or
yeah,
a person
exactly.
As it were. Is that
lady
right?
in waiting is what I've been picturing.
Cool.
Maybe someone that raised the queen before she was crowned.
Oh, wow.
So has known her a long time, and so that's why someone of a fairly low position would come along on this important journey.
Surrogate mother? Is that where we're at right now?
Surrogate mother, but none of the power that would come with that role typically.
Sure.
But in terms of emotional relationship, yeah.
Nice.
Wow.
Love this.
I mean, it seems to me then that like the queen best of all of us.
Yeah, probably.
You've been with her all her life. So that also means since we have been at war as long as any of us have been alive.
Yep.
It also means the queen has never not known war. She grew up within war,
right.
And it's always been there.
Yeah.
Wow. Wild. Okay, it's my turn. I'll do this thing. Let's
do this thing.
Sometimes I just... Oh, Good. How does the queen remind you of her status while on the journey?
You specifically.
Yeah, me specifically. I think the queen. Wow, I have like a general idea, which is that the queen uses. Okay, yes, this is clicking for me in a way. Okay, I think the queen gratuitously and conspicuously uses my title all the time.
Wow.
And she doesn't do it with anybody else. She calls everyone else by their names. She's not overly formal. Maybe in court she would be, but out here, she doesn't even require that people call her Your Majesty. Like, she is okay being called by her name again in this confines, but she always calls me by my landed title. Very conspicuously saying this in the presence of people when we travel through inns and whatnot, and there's strangers around. People hear my name and my title, and to me, it's always a reminder that, like, yes, you're of high status, but I am higher. Like this, you are not the queen. You are a viscount or something like that. You are right. And also it's a reminder that, like, theoretically, you are once everything is restored. And I feel like it's okay. So my character, this is where it's, so my character feels like it's a status game. Sean, feel like this is part of, like, the setup. I think she's using bait. I think like she's tipping people off, and I think the real destination you might be going to might be the people who hold my lands. I feel like that's what I'm thinking. Anyway.
Wow.
So there are many thoughts going on right there.
Sly.
So, yeah, an article adding in artificial distance because she likes you so much. Well,
right. That must be it. Do we know what your name and title is? Do we do that, or is that sort of more not needed?
I don't think it's needed. We totally could, but I don't have like a cool fancy pants name.
No. Just wondering if that was needed, because I kind of like that we're just using our own names for our character. I mean, we don't need. I don't even know if we need character names. I don't know.
I've almost never seen them come up.
That's interesting. That's very interesting.
Been like, they've taken a name like, I am the war leader, or I am a captain.
Okay. Like a title, because I think we are definitely doing that. Like archivist has been thrown around. Historian, lady in waiting has been thrown around. I mean, obviously, landed.
Yeah.
Gentle person.
Yeah.
Has been thrown around.
I mean, the kind of the title of the game suggests that, right? And that she's always the queen. Like, it refuses to humanize her.
Yeah.
Like she's at a distance, even just in the writing of these prompts. I love it.
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, I think I am the landed gentry, and that's
cool.
And that's me. Yeah. There's a lot there. I probably answered too much, but I had many thoughts.
No, that's good.
That's good.
That's great.
Hey. What do you usually do for the royal family? Why does that make you an unlikely choice for this journey? Oh, I think I'm like a tutor for the children. Like, not even the queen's younger siblings, but like her nieces and nephews and cousins. Like, I'm their tutor. And I don't even really tutor what I'm interested in. I just kind of do a little bit of everything, like maths, geometry, geography, history, literature. And so I'm just like almost the kindergarten teacher. I'm the babysitter of all of the children of all these kind of minor nobility who are tangentially related to the queen enough that they need to be in the capital.
Right.
But I don't teach anyone who is actually close to the queen.
So do you take the role of both like instructor and governess, where you're like kind of in charge of them as well? Okay.
Yeah. So it's like half, like I'm teaching them the alphabet and how to write. Like, these are like 6 to 10-year-olds is my thought. But I'm also just watching them their day to day, like making sure they get cleaned and get dressed and they do their chores. Insofar as they have chores, it's probably just whatever I assign them to do. But I'm very much their governess. Yeah.
Nice.
So
Which
you
isn't
said,
what I thought I was going to be doing when I
well, yeah,
was assigned this.
well, yeah, exactly. You're sort of say. I mean, I love it that you like have this Hesh connection because it
Mhm.
seems like you're like that is the reason you're coming on the mission, right? To some
Right.
degree.
But
And
that's
so-
just like side things I do. That's what I'm
right,
interested
exactly. That's what I love. Right, it's like I don't know if it's a passion or just a whatever why the interest is there per se, but that interest is what is sort of was found out about and is known of and is why you're coming. Is that
Right.
correct?
I think when the queen called on me to come with her, my first thought was surprised that she even knew that I was interested in this.
She knows much.
Yeah, and now that I'm on the trip, I'm kind of wondering how she knew that and like who told her that and why she sought that information out.
Her spiders told.
Yeah, who knows?
Oh, the spider. Yeah.
And that's like just kind of dawning on me now. But at the time, I was just so overwhelmed by. I had barely ever interacted with the queen, and now she's asking me to be one of her chosen. So that's kind of where I'm at. But I think that's it for this question.
All right, awesome. My turn. Let's see what we got here, y'all. I think here we go. Here we go. The queen had you punished once. What about the memory of that will stay with you forever? Yeah, I think that let's do this. I think I have like it was like bad punishment. It was like corporal punishment, like lashes. I've been lashed in the square, as it were. And I think that the memory of the scars on my back don't really aren't the things that I really remember the most. I think the memory that stays with me is her disappointment at that point in time. And I think I might have something to do with why she does no longer can walk. I think that might be something sort of there.
That you failed to protect her in some moment?
Yeah, I think
she
so.
was injured?
Yes, I think that's correct. Yes.
That's
So
good. I like that.
If you were the reason that she was injured and she had you punished, why are you with us now?
Yeah, great question.
I mean, I know that you're with us because she knows you love her.
Yeah.
That's a truism. But
was there a certain way you received the punishment that maybe restored her faith in you?
Oh, that could be it. Yeah. That to me, there needs to be some sort of transformation, right? Like, what is that sort of transformation that happens to affect that or materialize that, manifest that in the game world, as it were? The other way we could go with it.
I like the idea that you had some sort of change. What was your?
Go ahead.
Or there could be something about why you failed to protect her. That is, like, physically protect her. Maybe you were doing something else that distracted you from guarding her physically. But maybe, like you mentioned, that you have this. You had the card that was like you have the ability to endanger the queen.
Yeah. I like where you're going. I'm liking where all this is because we're sort of, this is something that's happening, like you're saying, Laurel, that is like you suspect there's a suspicion, I think, in your character about the mission and it being interrupted and what's going to be happening. And I think I think I like what's happening here is that I did fail. My character did fail and was like sort of whatever sent away. But there's some sort of, again, I'm returning back to this, I guess, theme of information that he has that is going to allow her to get to the Hesh.
Mhm.
So maybe there's a map or in some sort of information or some experience that he had in the war or as part of his background that will then allow her to get where she needs to go. So
Yeah.
so they're coming back together maybe for the first time in some time.
Sure. I also get the sense that maybe your duties were along the lines of defending her or whatnot, but what you were doing that prevented you from your duties was this sort of investigation into my heritage and into like the connections. And so while you failed your primary task, it was in another way to serve her. And so I like that idea that it's like she can't be too harsh on you because you were perhaps performing some other very important mission.
But let's not get it twisted either. I think there's probably an obsession as well that I have with your character, Sean.
Oh yeah, I'm feeling it.
Seems like everyone's obsessed with your character, Sean. Why is that?
That adds an additional meaning to the answer of your previous question, that like you're bringing something that's dangerous to the queen and it's the information, but I think also the fact that you know the information and that might distract you in the future is itself dangerous.
I like it.
Yeah, that's great. Cool.
All right.
All right, cool. Oh, sorry, thanks.
No problem.
All right. You are considered ugly by almost everyone you meet.
What?
How does the queen make you question that perception? I think most of the people around me dismiss me as this sort of old woman, too old and of low status to be worth even spending time on. But the connection that I have with the queen makes me not worry about that. I was never married. I just sort of spent my life taking care of someone else's children. But she feels like my daughter. So that overcomes the need to feel attractive or or anything like that.
Has the queen ever said anything about your importance to sort of like justify you or like vindicate you, or is it just the fact that she continues to come to you for advice and continues to value your presence? That kind of like, does she ever like stand up for you in any particular way, or is that not even relevant?
I think it's that sort of the relationship of a mother and daughter can be kind of fraught and doesn't necessarily come about in terms of talking about loving each other or caring for one another so much as like you were saying, coming back to me for advice, seeking me out when she's feeling stressed or distressed. The things that she does more than being able to give me a high position or reward me with riches or something that's more in lines with her role as queen, so much as trusting me with who she is as a person outside of that. And I think that's why the spider ritual that I happened upon is so disturbing, because she's sort of finding other ways to deal with those emotions that seem less healthy to me.
Right.
Yeah.
And you've known her all her life. Is this something that she's always done?
No, this is completely new, and that's why it's worrying me.
Yeah.
I've never seen her take to things like this. so that she would need this outlet is very worrying.
Yeah.
Both about her and what's going to happen.
I think she's very worried about the knowledge that her bodyguard has, and that she's just about to encounter. It feels like to me like all of this is like too much unknown for her, which is interesting because I just say it's like a sort of a meta level thing. I often find that we kind of play these sort of like not all knowing, but just like very hyper aware, hyper wise, hyper like cunning queens. And I like the idea that our queen is like a little in over her head or a lot in over her head. Yeah, cool.
Yeah.
Awesome.
All right. When was the last time the queen hurt you? I think that I have been in the court as like a permanent guest of the queen for most of my life, because I haven't had my homelands, but I'm of rank, or at least that's what everyone believes. And so I've just been like freeloading off the queen like my entire life, effectively. Because like it's her duty as the queen to give her gentry their home, and since she can't give me my home, I just stay in the palace, and like I've just been here like most of my life. And the thing that has caused me in the past to really feel like I had to prove myself and to really like become aggressive about trying to get my homelands back was one time when she's like, "Are you still here?" And it just like cut to the bone. It was just like, it's like she had never mentioned all of, I just assumed that I was like, she just thought it was cool that I lived in the palace, right? Like I'd been so used to it. And one time she was just like, she just cut right to the bone, and it was just chilling. And it drove me. It like ignited. Well, there's another card that says she ignites a fire in you. It really motivated me to like get my life in order. And it was just sort of one comment, but it really stung. And that was years ago. That was like a while back, and I think I've become a different person since then.
And you've been able to maneuver sort of things in a direction to finally sort of restore these lands, actually restore them, and maybe regain some of the lost respect.
Yeah. I mean, that's what I've been doing since then, pretty much. Like, I think I kind of went, and I probably had a lot of self-pity for a while, but after that I was like, no, I'm going to prove that I am worthy. And then like, I want to say that like our lands have been contested longer than I've been alive, and no one ever thought we were going to get them back. And this is the first time that like we are now in a place where we could get them back, which would benefit me, of course, but it would also like increase the queendom, right? Like it would be like, it would be a strong move for her to work with a Hesh to reclaim the lands. I'm not sure exactly how this is going to work. But yeah, it's still like, I'm always worried about overstaying my welcome with her now. Like I never try to like keep her too long. Like even in short things like meals, I like have a nice meal, and then I'm like, oh, excuse me, and I go and do other things. I just don't want to. I don't ever want to have that feeling of that like chill feeling of like you're dismissed.
Do you feel like that her saying that and that effect on you was intentional, or it was a passing comment?
I think it was. I feel like it was this monumental directive, right? But Sean, again, I keep feeling I keep playing like actor and director here. Sean totally thinks it was an offhand comment. Like it wasn't even meant to maybe she meant it in the moment, but like she doesn't care about it now.
Right,
Yeah,
right.
yeah.
Mm.
Think, Murder, and Walk is like, yeah, she doesn't even remember saying it. Yeah, I don't think she does. I don't think she even would know what I'm talking about if I
Yeah.
remember that time 10 years ago. She's like, what, 10 years ago? What do you mean? It wasn't like we had a fight. It wasn't like anything. I just left the court and I went,
Yeah.
and I tried to put my life in order.
That kind
Life
of brings up
like
the
love.
question, like, how old is the queen? If she said this years ago,
I
was
think
she like, yeah.
I feel like she was like late teens or something like that. Like she was kind of young and
Exactly.
petulant at
She
the
was
time.
she was the child empress at that point.
Yeah, right. Like I don't think she was a mature enough person to understand the effect of her words.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Mm.
Yeah,
And-
I think she's matured quite a bit since then, but at the time she didn't realize how much they stung.
Yeah.
All right. Awesome.
Yeah.
Okay. What makes the queen beautiful in your eyes? I think what makes the queen beautiful, and when I realized how much I loved the queen, was when I saw her interacting with some of the children that I was governessing, her cousins or her distant, like second removed nieces.
Mm-hmm.
And she was very kind to them and didn't talk down to them. She treated them like she would treat any other member of her court, almost better than that. And I think that was when I knew that I loved the queen, because she, more than anyone else that I'd seen, did not condescend to my students.
Mm. And do we live in a culture that is like children should be seen, not heard, and that kids are usually sort of dismissed? And is that the prevailing cultural attitude?
I think it probably is among the upper classes, but I came from like a kind of backwoods area where that wasn't so much the case. Like children had to work because you needed them to. So what I'm used to and my upbringing is seeing children treated more as equals. And so that was kind of a shock when I came here, and she was the first person that I ever saw treat children like people here in the capital. And I don't think I see how she treats you necessarily. Like, I think she's your favorite. I think you're her favorite, rather. And I don't necessarily see how she might condescend to you in some ways. In my eyes, she never condescends to anyone because she treated those children well.
Right. You see everything from that particular perspective. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like when she's calling him by his title, it's a respectful term, not a reminder of status.
Yeah, I think in my eyes, I'm like, wow, she really likes him. She keeps referring to him by his title, where she doesn't do that for any of the rest of us.
Right.
Right.
Yeah. Nice.
Do you think, Rourke, that your character, that she, that she is seeing the queen spread her superstitious beliefs to children?
Yes, I think I Rourke do that. But I don't think that as a mentor, after I saw that moment, I'm completely blind to any wrong the queen does, as far as superstition or prejudice. And I'm happy to let her spend any time with the children that she wants to, or tell them anything, and I'll never question or contradict anything she tells them.
Right.
I want them to think of her as the model.
Yeah, and she's never said anything that you've seen that you felt like was inappropriate for the kids or dangerous or something she shouldn't say. Like everything she said, because she's done it with compassion, because she's shown genuine interest in them. It's like if she said anything that was scary, that she shouldn't have, that hasn't flown on your radar. Like you
know what the moment was? There was a spider on the desk, and she taught the children how to take a spider and like put it in a cup and like slide a piece of paper under it.
like catch it alive.
Right.
Yeah, like keep the spider alive.
Where the kid's like, "Ew, kill it," and she's like, "Oh no,
Kill it.
Yeah, and in my mind, that's like a very kind, compassionate
Right.
thing
nice."
that might
Oh,
take a
I love
different light in the terms of the audience.
that.
so good. No, put it in a jar.
We don't kill spiders; we keep them.
Love it, love it, love it.
That's awesome.
The Hesh are just gonna think we're the best people.
Yeah.
Nice.
Oh, and I need to delete. Oh, okay. Thank you.
Yeah, no problem.
All right. So you arranged for the queen to be ambushed on this journey. What did they
How
offer you?
Could you?
You know, sometimes you got to go to certain lengths to keep the war going or end it, you know, whichever. Not sure yet. But what did they offer me? Okay. I think that they offered me a way to return the queen's mobility. But that maybe through some sort of ritual of some type, some sort of Hesh magic.
That they could regrow her legs.
So
or they could grow her new.
we're going to be ambushed, and that is obviously the interception that our older lady in waiting is aware
Freya.
of. Our elder lady of waiting.
Yeah.
Mm.
So, but you
honored.
arranged for this ambush,
Yes.
and an ambush does not have like positive connotations to it. It's not a surprise meeting. It's not a surprise. It's your birthday.
No.
Um.
She has to be ambushed so that she can be operated on.
Oh my goodness.
Mhm.
So, and is it the Hesh that are going to ambush her, or is
I think so. I think
Yeah.
that's probably it. Yeah.
and this is not the queen's desire or anything?
No,
but
no.
you think
I
it's
don't
what's right for her,
Yes. Yes.
or is it just your horrible guilt that like has racked you into thinking like, I failed her, I must do this thing?
I think that this will be a way for the war to be won, because once she's part Hesh, I mean, they come on our side and we win the war.
Yeah. How many legs do you think they're gonna give her back?
At least 4, if not 8.
At least. Yeah, that would be a
Yeah.
nice middle point.
Right.
Yeah.
So I just want to say, I'm not ex-cardio, I just say super gross. I love it, but like this whole like stealing the queen's agency, like I'm gonna do this thing
Is
to
that bad?
help
Is
her,
that
but it's
bad?
against
Yeah.
her will. Yeah.
Yeah. It's bad.
It's bad. I mean,
It's bad news.
yeah.
It's terrible.
Yeah.
It's
not a good
an
person.
ambush.
It's an ambush.
I am a failed bodyguard, if you must know.
Yeah.
So I have gone I'm obsessed. That is literally written down right now, right here. I have some obsessions. One is with your secret, because you're you know, obviously a fake.
Pretender. Yeah.
A pretender, exactly.
Yes.
And obviously I'm obsessed with the failure that I have. I wear my scars like badges of honor. And, you know, there's so much intrigue in the society. Yeah, I've arranged for this ambush. And, you know, yeah, this is what's happening. Also, you know, I think I figured out exactly what the secret is. I don't know if I need to say it now, but maybe I am going to say it now because I'm super into this ambush happening, which is that I think that Sean's character's father or one of his parents were from the other side of the war. I think that's one.
Nice. That has tainted my lineage.
Exactly.
Right.
Nice. All right, you guys. We good? Any other
Yeah.
questions?
Yeah.
Booyah.
Yeah.
Oh.
All right. What brings out the queen's cruelty?
Is it betrayal?
Yeah,
Sorry.
she hates ambushes specifically. Never plan her a surprise party.
Ambushes make her very angry.
It hates him.
I think I think watching her grow up, I've seen, these flashes of just cold anger that come at times that I'm not expecting. Like you would expect when somebody disappoints her, or when somebody uses the wrong form of address or something like that. That's when she should be angry. But I think that's not what I've seen. Let's see. What are the times when she's been angry and cruel? I think actually she lashes out a little bit when things go her way, but not to the degree that she had hoped for. So when there's success, but just barely, or something like that, where she's actually gotten what she should want and she should be happy, but that's when she's at her cruelest. Is when she says things like that comment that she gave Sean's character, you know, that you're still around. There was nothing going wrong, but that's the moment when she feels that.
So
does that make sense?
it makes total sense to me. I know that like I didn't quite get the thing I wanted, and so the thing I got instead is like worse than not getting anything at all. I have an entire maple donut rant that I could give about this. I
think that's more important here.
The queen hates maple donuts.
Hates them.
Right? If what you really want is a chocolate donut, then a maple donut is like an insult to your donut taste. It's just like wasted calories. Why? Right? Right?
That's exactly what the queen says.
Yeah. I love it. That's great. It's one of those things where like you either want to like not even get on her radar and like or succeed completely. I feel like that's why I disappeared for so long, was that I didn't want to come back and be like, well, I made some progress. I didn't want to come back until I literally like handed her a thing being like, here is the writ to prove our holdings on the land or something like that. Like it had to be something really like all the way because thanks, Ken. She hates maple donuts. I do not protect her. Like it's like you don't ever want to do a half measure because wow.
Yeah, I think maybe that's also why Ken's character can come back from disappointing her, is that's not as bad to her as sort of as like succeeding but only barely, versus going from failure to success is much more acceptable.
She's gonna love that I can half speak Hesh.
Yeah, exactly. That's gonna be a real winning moment there. Awesome. All right. Well, with that delightful thing, I think we should take our first break. So we'll come back in about 5 minutes, everybody. Thanks all for hanging out with us. This was super fun, and we'll be back in a few.